Hi guys again. Welcome to part 4 of making the large bore steady rest for a lathe. I've made more progress which I'm going to be showing you shortly. I do apologise for the part 3 being quite long. In actual fact there were 46 films on that and I only managed to get 21 on, and they were all clipped down and odd ones speeded up in a fashion. So the rest of those are going to be in part 4 up to the 46, and then I'm going to start again making part 5. So without further ado, I've had a lot of good feedback and a lot of guys looking forward to seeing part 4, which is fantastic. And I think, you know, there's a few people who've got these and have not started them yet, and you know, or people that might want to buy one, and is it worth it? I think a guy called Mark, he'd sort of said to me that he didn't think they were worth the money, but then I did look at steel to buy. I mean, I do have quite a bit of steel, and some of the steel I might have had, but most of it I wouldn't have had. But it'd probably cost over £50 or £60, you know, to make one bought in stock, and then we'd have had to have been my design, which probably wouldn't have been as good as this one, or how it appears this one's going to be. And of course you've got to bear in mind this cast alloy is the housing, which is quite nice. It's a bit out of size here and there, but when I've done it, I'll do what I did when I did my Z-axis drive, if you had a look at that, where I actually put filler in. I used filler. It was a Bridgeport end piece that I made fit on the Tom Senior, and if you look at it, or look back at my Z-axis drive video, you'll see that it looks like the part were made for the Tom Senior. Amazing what you can do with a file, an hacksaw, a grinder and some filler. So when this is finished, they might need, on rough casting parts, a bit of filler here and there. There is a slight gap, as you'll see, on the hinge side, but again that'll be filled and rubbed down, so when it's painted, which it will be painted, because it's just a mucky grey aluminium colour at the moment, and it's not the type that looks like it'd polish up well. So yeah, it probably won't stand up to it either too well. So I guess it's going to be painted. We don't know what colour yet. I'm still leaning towards metallic blue with brass thumb wheels on it, but I don't know yet. That's undecided. Okay, so I hope you like this one. Thank you for watching. Brilliant. Another well chuffed bit done. So now there's that part to do, and then the knurled bit. That's a bit I'm not too sure about, that knurled knob, because I mean that's made out of mild steel, but the one different thing about this lathe steady kit that I've never seen on any other is that every other one you use a spanner to tighten everything up. This one don't have any bolts with a spanner. They're all thumb wheels. So obviously it's probably like that knurling tool, it's classed as a sensitive one, don't know. But this only has a thumb wheel on it. And it's there, and it's 3/4 inch diameter, made out of steel supplied. But right, so all these thumb wheels, don't make them and that out of some brass, which I've got plenty of, and polish it so they're all shiny brass bits on it, on the painted frame. I don't make them out of aluminium and anodise them, because I've still got all anodising kit. It only wants setting up again. I've plenty of that chemical. I've got all my dyes here. What have I got? Red, blue, yellow or violet for knobs. Or will they look nicer in brass? I'll just mix them out. Okay, so I showed you that slot a minute ago, done, which was that slot. So we've got this swivel bolt. I've only just put a bit of steel pin through just to hold it, but basically that is going to swing up, and then the nut goes on there. So far things are looking quite good. Anything I'm not happy about? Yeah, this gap. If I hadn't have had that gap, pull that pin, squash that up, I've done some tests, then this would have been about 3/4 of an inch diameter, and on the drawing it's showing an inch. I shall prove it. This is the unit, and here it specifically states that 1 inch, 25.4mm diameter, which is nearly what I've got. I'm just a fraction under, a few thousandths of an inch under. Now, had I clamped it up so that, now other thing is, you put a level across there, it lines through perfectly across here, and same with the top section. So I know that that is level with that, and that is level with that, and also with this pinning and locked up like this, if I put a ruler straight edge across here to here, perfect. Across here to here is perfect. So I know that those are all lined up. If I take that pin out, squash that up, there's quite a few thou air gap on the ruler when you line it through. So that is the right place for it, which again shows that the castings was a bit short. So what am I going to do about that? I'm going to fettle that so that's level with that, 'cause it's a slight bit out, and I'm going to fill that with filler, which if any of you saw me do my Z axis drive, that electric motor, the adapter that came for a bridge port, you'll have seen that it was all like honeycombed at the back, and I filled it with filler, rubbed it down, painted it, and it perfect, and it still is after over a year. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to fill that gap. I'm quite good with body filler, done a lot of cars and bikes and things, so I'm going to probably fill that once all this is finished. It'll have to be finished first, and I'm going to fill that. I'm going to flatten it so that that is a closed gap, because it'll always annoy me, I know it will. And we'll make this look a lot nicer prior to painting it. I'm just cutting a shim so that I don't mark this up. Real thin aluminium. I got a big pack of aluminium offcuts some time ago. Were cheap on eBay, and this is probably the thinnest I can find. Right, I've got it down at 40 TPI. Running at 600 RPM. I'm just going to take a light press off here, see if we can get a nice finish. If not, I'll have to rub it by hand. That one. Yeah. Go a bit fast with it because it needs cutting down or parting off. Rare parting tool, homemade, as you will have seen in one of my videos. Should be enough. Sorry guys. Next thing. The monstrosity. I'll need squaring up all this. Just using one of my parallels. To get rid of that blue marking first. Otherwise I'd have pushed it into Knurling. Right, I'm going to give that a try. GoPro. If it didn't work, I'm sorry. Quite is a fine nail, is that? But we need it to dip it a bit deeper. Right, I need a fine wire brush. Come on, I've got one. No, it's not a wire brush, but it'll do. Oh, I say, that is nice. Very nice. I've got my diamonds. If any of you are considering making the Hemingway's kit, fine knurling tool, a sensitive knurling tool, I'd recommend it highly. I made this, and if you go back you'll see all my videos. There's 8 parts to it of actually making this from bar stock. This lever is an eccentric cam on here, and as you pull that lever it puts pressure on here, so you wind the handle down till you're biting on the work, give it a nip, and then you use the lever. You don't wind that anymore and do a run, and that's the results that you get, which is stunning. I'm going to do quieten things off by that. Need to get ready for reverse. I might knock the camera on this. Sorry guys if I do. Machine tap. That'd be alright because it's got a knotted shank and I could get down to, oh, it just about do it. Experiment. You just make do and mend with what you've got sometimes.
goes. Don't you break on me. Might need cleaning out, I bet end's bunged up with brass. But we're nearly there. How do I get crap out of there? Well, that's full depth of that tap as far as it'll go. Once I've parted that off, I think that should do it, because I can, if the threads come through and it's not a full thread, it doesn't matter, I can pick it up. That is. No, let's take the burr off that. There then. Oh, that's fine. Same on that side, but I don't think I can get to it yet. I'm going to have to put parting tool back in and part this off. No, I don't know. I'm going to leave that a bit proud so I can have a go at doming. Lost forever. Where have you gone? Come on. Oh God, I have lost it now. Hello, where have you gone? Ah, see you. Well hidden. Got you. Right, I'm going to have a go at doming this. All thread has come through, so we're good. So I'm going to grip it on that with some aluminium, and I'm going to have a go at playing with this. Best stuff in the world. Let's have a look at it. No, I think that looks nicer domed. Still see some lines in it there. And that, I don't know whether I'm going to need a washer on this. Let's try it all together and see if it fits. End of GoPro session.
Right, let's try it together, see if it fits. Of course it will, we know it will. Just turn it camera so I know what I can see. I think that'll want a washer under it. That's it. Locked up. I cleaned that with some brake cleaner. Quite happy with that. So that's the frame fit. Ooh, the pin's dropped out. That's the frame finished, as in it clamps together. Obviously this has got to be milled to get a centre height to 3.5 inches for the Myford. There's that to machine as well. But the next will be these holes. Now I'm still waiting for some long drills coming that I ordered. I dare drill that end and then turn it round and drill that end, because I'm guaranteed they're not going to be in line, and it'd be a right job setting them up. So my plan will be to drill right through. I've ordered 2 sizes, I think a 6mm, to pilot through. But you see, they're bang on. You see that? They're bang on of them. Whereas if I close that gap up, they're not. Which is what I was saying earlier. And that is, see, that's bang on as well. So if I'd have closed that up, that's just a bit proud too. But they are perfect. So I'm hoping that we all work out right. Of course, I've got to be careful. Right, so we're making the fingers now. There's 4 to make. I'm going to make 1 on camera and the other 3 off camera. And it calls for a chamfer on end of there. Oh, I think that would be too sharp, would that? Or would it? It's not descriptive really. Yeah, it just shows that there's a chamfer on end. Comes to like a button in the middle. That's probably going to do it. I think that'll be enough. There's no given depth of cut for this on the drawing. I've just had a right good scan of them and I can't find anything.
we'll part it off. This rare tool post has been infallible, been brilliant. No more juddering. Famous last words. Oops. Got camera. I've knocked you out of line, I'll check it in a second. I knew that I'd do that. Yeah, I'm going to have to bring it out a bit. I'll go turn it all the way. I don't think any of it is. Even that, because that wants drilling now for the brass finger. So that's going to be drilled 5/16 to a certain depth, which I'll do now, and then it's going to go to the mill and have a flat put on it, the full length of it. Is it time for a new battery? I think it is, because this little DRO on here, which you can't see, I got this about 3-4 years ago. It was £1, and it's got rows and rows of batteries in, and it's actually got the one I want. Hey. So that's at 0, we're going 9.5 mil. We don't need to actually, because this is only a pilot drill. I don't want to be bolting this off. Our measurements from big drills. They're valuable, we don't want to blunt that off. Taking out of here and setting up a milling machine, and we've got a flat right across it. What it does show is that the brass fingers that you put in, you have to make those out of brass. I might see if I've got any phosphor bronze, but I don't think I have. You make them obviously to slide in there and Loctite in, or a press fit, and then the taper to a point, so when all four come together you can get to a small diameter of bar. But it also shows that the flat that's on here runs across onto the little bit of brass that's on a shoulder before it tapers, and it shows that machined. Now whether they've just done that because they've made them all up and then stuck them in machine and done them, I don't know. But for this finger to come out easily, it would need the flat on the brass, otherwise it'd catch.
Right, so we've I showed making one of these fingers on the lathe, and the rest of them I've made off camera, so they're all done. They're all exactly the same. I did have them stood up so you could see they're all the same height. They're all bang on. And what we got is there's this little chamfer on top that isn't for anything other than probably decorative, and then there's this slot which I got a right little bit out, but don't matter because to match that I've got to make some screws. They'll have a shoulder on something like that that'll then fit in that gap, and that's what draws them up and down, so that doesn't matter. I'm talking about, I think, 0.5 or a mil. I was quite a way out, a long way out in engineering terms, but as I say, it don't matter. There's not any critical measurements for any of this really. That's 5/16 board. Measured that using those Kronos drills or whatever they were, RDG or whatever, and it's just under 5/16, which is probably a good thing, but it doesn't matter again because I'm making the brass fingers to fit there. Now I probably would like to make them a press fit where I could press them in on the press I've got. The alternative apparently is, you know, you use Loctite and Loctite them in. And so out of the two pieces of bar, I made a small error on one end. I'd measured this wrong and started my groove too early. So I pulled the bar out, it was a fresh piece, and I pulled it out and measured it, and there was just enough to do what I wanted to do and correct it. So I parted it off and started again, and I just had enough on that stock to do the two. The first two, which I didn't make a mess of, that is what were left out of the bar. You make a little spinning top of it, but that's what's left, about 4 mil once you've parted them off. The rare parting tool that I made has responded absolutely beautifully, not a jitter. So yeah, rare parting tool, definitely a good addition to a small lathe. It gives you sort of that there, give you some measurements. So it's 1/2 inch bar to start with, and 732 from the centre to the top of the flat. That's the 5/16 bore hole by 9.5 deep. So yeah, I've got to put them in and centre them, then measure up. I suppose I can probably do it with centre finder. Yeah, anyway, there's a right little skim to come off top of them, and they end up looking like this then. This finger here, and that fits in the flat. It don't fit in the flat, it fits in that round hole. So I've got to mount this in the mill and clamp it, and then I've got to drill right through here a 1/2 inch hole to take these fingers, but I'd need to start there. So I don't know, this drill is long enough to go right through to there. Might need to move it in collet once or twice, but that is long enough to get my holes through. Because you've got to remember, I've also got to keep this up off the deck by a little bit so I don't drill the bed. So there's that to look out for. So I'm worried that with that and that, I'm probably not going to have enough travel on the knee. I mean, it's a hell of a milling machine when it comes to that distance. I lost half an inch, I believe it was, of height when I fitted that Z-axis drive, and I even thought I might have to undo it and pull it off while I do it. But I wouldn't like to have to do that, because that means pinions got to be, excuse me, the pinions all got to be set up again if I do that, so I didn't really think that's a good idea. But I could do this in pillar drill, but I don't want to. I want to do it on milling machine, because I want that hole down through there to be bang on, so when it gets down here it's in the right spot here too. So yeah, there's a fair bit to do there. Only other thing would be to go through, obviously, with a short drill first, get this going, get through here, then I could take that out. Of course I could, couldn't I? I could take that out. I might have to move this, I'd have to thread it in, wouldn't I? Might have to thread it in and then put it up into the chuck. At least that would get me then my distance. Yeah, there's always a way, isn't there? There's always a way. We'll work something out. But that drill's not big enough, but that might do to pilot it. I just don't want it to flex. It's a bloody long drill, that. It's a good old quality one. Very good quality. 6.8mm HSS Hartner SS208. Whoever Hartner is, thank you. I'm just joking. Just a little add-on to a little snippet. This is the piece of brass that comes for the fingertips that go into the end of here. In my drawer I found some phosphor bronze. I'm sure that's phosphor bronze. I'll show you it to see if you can discern the difference. See, that's brass, which is yellow. That looks very coppery, like copper. But it's not copper. I can show you some copper. See, that's copper. Indeed difference. So you've got copper, phosphor bronze, brass. There's obviously more copper in that. I don't know, whatever it is, mixture. But that is 12.5mm diameter. It's ½ inch. That is 12mm diameter. So that's 20 thou smaller than that. Now, does it matter? Because I'd rather make them out of phosphor bronze. All it means is they're going to be 20 thou smaller, which is only 10,000th of an inch each side of here. Smaller. And I've got enough here to make alt 4 easily. So, do I make them out of phosphor bronze, 10 thou smaller all round? I think I do. I think I do. It's definitely better than brass. Brass is quite hard, really. Phosphor bronze is not. It's quite soft, but it's hard wearing, which is why it's certainly used for certain types of bushes. It's just that it's very expensive. I just thought I'd add that tippet in. I think we're going to go with the smaller phosphor bronze. Well, I hope you enjoyed that part 4. Everything seemed to turn out well. My setup, there's a lot of guys on Model Engineering Forum, for instance, and other guys that watch my channel that will probably know how to set up better than I do. I'm very much an amateur, and sometimes I might make a setup and a clamping arrangement and it don't quite work out, and I haven't considered something and I have to take it all off and start again. Whereas probably you guys would probably do it in 5 minutes. It might take me an hour, and sometimes I've got the video camera running all that time, so obviously there's lots of stuff to clip out. You probably wouldn't want to see that. So anyway, I hope you liked it, guys. Part 5 will be coming very soon, and please click us a thumbs up and a like, or even subscribe to the channel or share with someone else. Thanks, that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much. It's coming on great.